guys, welcome to another episode of Life Lessons with Law. My name is Loretta, and as always, it's always a pleasure to chat with you and just have these honest, open, authentic, heart-to-heart conversations here. If this is your first time, thank you so much for listening, and if you're a returning listener, thank you so much. You're family. So first of all, I just want to start by saying Happy New Year. And I know, yes, we are almost 3 months into the year, and it feels like it's too late to say Happy New Year, but yeah, Happy New Year. Hoping that it's going to be an awesome year for you and for everyone connected to you. Okay, so today I'm starting a series called Unscripted, and that's because I just feel like I'm more in a fluid state, in a more fluid state, yes, when I'm able to just really express myself without really boxing myself to trying to remember what's in my script. So please forgive me. This series is just going to be really me just pouring my heart about things that I want to share about. So it's not going to really follow any pattern per se. It's just going to be really fluid, because I just want to make it really open and raw and honest, actually. So first off, in this series, I'm talking about a case for introverts. Yes, a case for introverts. And the reason is I'm an introvert. So I think that there's actually a lot of, should I say, misconception or misrepresentation about introverts that I think it's important for us to talk about. And if you're an introvert, welcome. I just want you to know that, there are many of us on this planet, so you're not alone. But yeah, really, I think one of the things that people need to understand about introverts is that introverts are not antisocial. They are not antisocial. Well, many introverts are not antisocial, and they are not. They don't hate people. It's not like they hate people. It's not like we hate people, right? Because I've read blogs and I've read some comments on online forums where people are like, oh, introverts just hate people. No, we don't hate people. It's just that compared to extroverts who get energy or who are energized by external environments and social activities, introverts kind of get drained when they've been exposed to too much social activities. And they always feel that need, especially when they feel like they've expended a lot of energy on social activities. They always feel that need to want to just curl in and just replenish that lost energy and just, go back to their shell and recharge, right? And if you're an extrovert, you might feel like this is weird, because to you, like, you always want to go outside, you always want to be outside, you always want to be with people, you always want to be around people, but it's not the same for introverts. It's not the same. And I think that is one thing that, especially if you have an introvert in your life, this is one thing that you need to understand, and you don't have to feel scared that, oh, are you sure this person is not depressed? It might not be depression. It might just be that this person just derives satisfaction from spending more time alone, spending more time inside, spending more time indoors, doing the things that they love. Of course, there's the extreme side of it where it could potentially be depression. So yeah, that's one thing. And another thing that people another thing that people misunderstand about introverts is that there are levels to this introversion. Is that even a word? But there are levels to introversion. Some people are more introverted than others. Like, there are some introverts who will do very well in social situations. Like, when you put them in group situations, they're like the life of the party. They're not shy. And this doesn't mean that being introverted means that you're shy. No, they're not the same thing. So they might be in social situations and, they're very chatty and very noisy, and you can't you almost cannot believe that this person is introverted. Like it's almost impossible to believe, right? They're like, they can blend in any social situation, right? And there are other introverts that are more reserved in social situations, right? They're less chatty, less noisy, and they're more observant. So they would talk less, listen more, and observe more. And even if they have to make an input to whatever it is that's been discussed in that group setting, it might be or right, or yeah, or things like that. So there are levels to this. So some people are more introverted than others, and some introverts have a higher degree of extroversion than others, right? Another thing, okay, I'll just give an example. I'll just use myself an example before I go ahead. So for me, I think when in social situations where there's a large group, when I'm in a large group, I tend to be more observant of the people that I'm in that group with. I tend to observe more. I tend to listen more and pick up, non-verbal cues. So I might be in a group and different things are going on, and everybody doesn't notice that thing, but I notice it because I'm watching more, I'm listening more, right? I'm paying attention to non-verbal communication. And I know sometimes when I go out with my husband and then we come back, because my husband's level of introversion is quite different from mine. So he's more like he's an introvert that can also do well in social situations. Like, and by do well, I mean like in social situations, he can be very, chatty and boisterous, and he can just be, you know that he's there. But for me, I can be in a group setting, and you might not know that I'm even there. Like, you might not even know that I exist, because you might, most likely, depending on the type of group, you might not even hear my voice at all. So sometimes then we come home and I'm telling him, did you notice that this happened and that person did this and that person did that? And it's like, huh? Really? And I'm like, because I was paying attention to those things, right? So there are different levels to it. Another thing that people misunderstand about introverts is that they think that introverts don't like to go out at all. That's not true. Because the truth is that as much as you might like staying indoors, you also need to go out. You need it for your mental health, for the sake of your mental health, for the sake of your physical health. So it's being locked up indoors 24/7, 365 days a year. It's not ideal. So you need to go outside. You need to learn to also put yourself in social situations, because these things are good for you. You need that connection as a human being. You need to be able to connect with others. You can't live as an island on this planet. You need people, right? So that is an extreme of introversion, where you just don't want to be around people. You just don't want to have any interaction whatsoever with other human beings on the planet. That is concerning. That is concerning. But introverts do enjoy some level of outdoor exploration, some level of social interaction. It's just not exactly the way that extroverts might enjoy it. So for an introvert, for example, an introvert might just enjoy going on walks, taking long walks, and just breathing in the environment that they're in, and just observing people, watching people interact, and an introvert may enjoy maybe going to a park, or maybe going to a museum, or going to an art exhibition, things that prompt them to introspect. Now, it doesn't mean that as an introvert you might not want to go to parties, or some introverts don't like going to any place where there's a lot of noise, right? And some people like me, I can actually go to a place that is noisy, but I might not want to be in that noisy place for a long time, because I'll start feeling drained, So some people, there are introverts who don't even want to go to noisy places at all. They just want to go somewhere that is quiet, so maybe parks or an exhibition or to maybe a farmer's market or, things like that. So that is another thing. Another thing that people don't really get when it comes to introverts is that some people think that introverts don't like to make friends or introverts don't have friends. That is not true. You see, introverts have a different way of making friends and keeping friends, right? Now, for someone who has a high degree of extroversion, who is very extroverted and very bubbly and who's the life of the party, such a person might find it very easy to make multiple friends at once. Because when they go to a place, they immediately just light up the place and they draw people to them. And they find it very easy to strike a conversation, and then before you know it, they've made like 10 friends in the same place, right? For introverts, it doesn't exactly work like that. For a lot of introverts, loyalty is important, and because interactions can either drain them or because interactions can be draining, they're very mindful of how they expend their energy. So when it comes to interactions and when it comes to connections and getting to know people, introverts tend to enjoy one-on-one interaction more. So for me, for example, I prefer to get to know someone one-on-one. Because I want to know who you are, right? I want to know, for me, I like to get deep, right? And I want to know what makes you tick. I want to know who you are. It's not really like, I don't really like to have like superficial conversations. I want to know who you are. So for me, having that one-on-one interaction, I find it intriguing, right? So, but for a lot of extroverts, it might not be like that. You get? So yeah. So that's another thing about introverts. And introverts don't. I can, and I'm using myself as an example a lot because I'm very introverted. So I can live in a place, in a particular location, and nobody might know that I live there because I can just, keep to myself. But if an extrovert were to be in a location, like in 2 weeks, they know everyone on the street. They know where they go to for lunch, what they have for dinner, right? And it's good. It's just that everyone cannot be like that. So an introvert would rather have 5 really close friends than 50 friends that they don't really know. So for introverts, it's about the quality of the relationships. It's about the quality of the conversations. Because that energy, because you want to be sure that energy that you are expending on that relationship brings some kind of fulfillment or satisfaction to you. Otherwise, you just go home feeling drained. To be honest, for a lot of introverts, when they are in social situations, maybe they go out and go to a party or something, or in a social situation with a group, and then they go home. There's a type of exhaustion they feel like virtue has left them. So, and they might need like 3 days of alone time to get back on track. So when they're having those conversations and interactions with people one-on-one, they need to cultivate it. They need to know it's something, because at the end of the day, you want to go back home feeling satisfied, having expended that energy getting to know someone. Another thing, I think that, just as I wrap up, I think one thing that people need to understand is there are people who are natural introverts. Not everyone is a natural introvert. Some people are natural introverts. That's the way they've been, that's the way they've always been. But some people, because of their childhood experience, they have had to learn to be introverted, and it's not really an expression of who they really are. It's just maybe because of something that has happened to them in their childhood, and so because of that they've become wary of people, or maybe they suffer some kind of social anxiety because maybe when they were children they weren't allowed to really express themselves. So because of that, they grew into adults who find it very difficult to connect with people and express themselves. So automatically, they became more introverted. And it's not because that's the way they were born. So yeah, it's also important to understand that. And if you're that kind of person who deep down inside of you that you are really a very fun, lively, chatty person, but you had to learn to hide that because of some trauma that you experienced growing up, then you might need to seek professional help. You might need to get that something that you might need to actually dig deep into so that you can heal and become your full authentic self. And for me, there's an aspect of my introversion that is actually as a result of my childhood experience and how I was raised, right? But yeah, there's an aspect of that contributed to me being even more introverted than I naturally am. But even if I did not experience those things, or even if I wasn't raised that way, I think that I would still be introverted. So yeah, so I would say that, yeah, for me, I'm just naturally introverted. Anyway, so yeah, that brings me to the end of this chit chat. Yeah, I just thought that I would just jump on and share that. So if you're introverted, I just want you to know that you are not weird. There are so many people like us, like you, in the world. There's nothing wrong with you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. You don't have a problem, and you don't have to be like everybody else. It's okay. And of course, it's important for you to know that, yeah, it's important to strike that balance and know when, if you're overly, if you think that you're spending too much time indoors by yourself, always wanting to be alone and not wanting to even go out and see the sun, then you might need to maybe seek professional help and just explore why you feel that way. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much. This was fun, and I am really loving this Unscripted series, right? It feels good to just, come on and just say what you feel without feeling the need to follow the script. So yeah, but thank you so much for listening. If you listen to this to the very end, 20 minutes already, oh my god, I talk too much. But thank you so much if you listen to the very end. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Oh, it's Sunday already over here, but thank you. Let me just go now, because now I don't have a script, otherwise I'll keep rambling. Thank you. Bye.